as usual, if you have questions, type in the chat box while I review the M15 and M5 entries. Okay. Okay, the first in the list that happened last week, we are looking for Solana to buy at the 162 area. It went into the area because we have a plus minus 5. Oh, that's a mistake. I didn't put they put in the earlier reports and this one missed out. So anyway, there is, you can see this is an impulsive move pushing up, breaking over here on the M5. And what happened is that it created lots and lots of gaps right over here. Came down and yeah, this was your entry, or if you missed that, this is your entry as well, right over here, because this was the swing, right? So you would have two entries right here and right here. So I'm just taking this one right here, an entry that which is a high entry at the 100 area here at roughly about 170.75, and you could see right now that you have already hit 2 to 1 and it's still going higher. Okay, so that is a nice trade for Solana. Next is Ether. Remember, I wrote there 3,100 is a crucial area. Then you can see Ether breaking up all the way. Very, very strong buying. And then that is because this is the M5. That is your pending order right here. Filled and is went up. Now you are 1 to 1. And Ether right now is at about 3,360. Around there, so probably, yeah, and also nearing a 2.1 already. Okay, 2 to 1 return already. So another nice trade there. Gold. Now gold, this is the gold trade right over here. Now gold trade here, that's the swing, right? So price came up, down, up, down, broke. So they created wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So the third wave right over here impulsively took out this swing, right? So if you look at the entry rules, these are all the gaps right here, right? These are all the gaps right here. And what you want to do, take the gap that's highest because you don't want to miss them. Okay, how would you know that for this guy will come back towards the support area right here before pushing up once again? We don't know that, right? So anyway, this is just an M5 trade. Why worry that much? That would have been your entry. The lower risk, higher risk stop loss will be here. The lower risk stop loss will be here. Regardless, I always, for transparency purposes, I always take the worst entries with the lowest risk stop loss. And right now, gold is just about 1 to 1 in so far. Okay, so what you can always do, since you already got 1 to 1, you can protect your trades, and then we'll see. Okay, or take off some profits first. Okay, so that's all the 3 trades that triggered for the entire week. And next, I'm going to tackle the questions that came in for me to address today. The first is this question right over here. You know, we were looking at the gold trade over here. So that was the question: is my gaps identified correctly? Now I would say that there is no gap right over here. What you have marked in the red color line right over here, there is no gap, because look, this is the high and this is the low. So in between them, there is just no gap. So you cannot mark this as a gap. Okay, number one. Number two, now using this as a high, as a swing high right over here, I constitute this, I'm not sure whether you take this as your swing high or this as your swing high. So I'm assuming you're using this as your swing high right over here. I would call this, deem this risky. I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's not wrong. Okay, but I would say it's risky because I'm using highs that you can see clearly, something like this. These are very clear highs. Okay, number one. Number two is that because there's no gap right over here, this would be a better entry to look for entries right over here. Okay, at these areas, because now you can see there are gaps, very, very clear gaps right over here. Okay, these are your clear gaps. So I would actually do that. So there's really no entries over here, and I will do it right here. Okay, so make this, marking this as the swing high to break. In the event we don't have this at all, like this, I will just treat this. But right now, with all this, we know very, very well that for this particular movement, it has to break this swing high right over here. Doing that, then comes down before moving upwards. Okay, so hopefully I've answered all your gaps. So there's no entry over here, so you wouldn't be holding the trade. Now, assuming that this area has these entries like this, I would still hold it until it hits my target. Okay, because at the end of the day, what you're doing, you're attempting on an M5. So M5, they do carry a bit of risk, but if you do enough of back tests and actually practice in the market, I believe that you would have caught it as well. Okay, you would understand all the movements. Second question. Now, this why did this trade fail? Okay, what mistakes did I do? Is there a way to tell if the trade will fail? Of course, there is a way, and it's not because of hindsight. And if you remember, I think last week or the week before, I actually briefed you all how to look. If you are looking for gaps as your entry levels, you also need to understand that the opposite rings true. So that means as price move up, and there are huge gaps at the top, you better be careful because price might reverse anytime. Okay, but first of all, let's look into this particular area first. Now, if you look at the overall swing over here, the higher risk to use as a swing is here. The actual one would be here, and that is where price broke. Okay, up, down, and push up once again. So where are your gaps? What you have marked is correct, this area, as well as this area. These are your gaps. Now, if you would have entered here, your entry would have been here, right? This would have been your entry, and the higher risk entry would be here. So this would be your actual entry right over here. So basically you entered near the top and then you got stopped out, right? So is there a way? Definitely, because I would not have taken this entry, and that's the reason why. Let me show you. Now, this is where your entry was, right? Remember saying, look at this selling over here. These are very strong selling. It created gaps inside those selling, right? So when you create gaps inside that selling, what can happen next is that the moment it comes into this area here, which is the tip of this guy, look, that was the high, and then it went down all the way down to take you out. So when you want to actually keep on buying at areas, you must ensure that the opposite end do not have this kind of movements, equally impulsive movements. If it has, you have to be very careful tackling that area, because if you enter here and it comes into this zone, you better start protecting your profits. If you don't, yeah, this would be the result. Okay, so just check. As long if there are no gaps, no problem. Continue to ride on the trade. If there are gaps in those areas, then it should not be taken. Okay, So I hope you understand, and I